The scream jolted me awake like a lightning strike in the dead of night. One moment I was buried in restless sleep. The next I was sitting bolt upright, heart hammering, instincts on high alert. 15 years in law enforcement had conditioned me to respond to danger swiftly, but nothing could ever truly prepare you for the kind of terror that comes when it's your child screaming. "Dad!" Max's voice rang out down the hall. It was happening again. I flung off the covers, feet hitting the hardwood floor before my brain fully caught up. My legs carried me toward the end of the hallway, toward Emily's room, the sound of my 16-year-old daughter's agony growing louder with every step. I pushed open the door, and there she was curled into herself on the bed, her face twisted in pain, breathing sharp and erratic. Her skin, once so warm and vibrant, was already starting to fade toward a terrifying bluish tint. She looked at me with wide, panicked eyes and tried to speak, but the words barely escaped her lips. "It hurts, Dad, it hurts so bad this time." I knelt beside her, brushing the hair from her damp forehead and fighting to keep my voice calm, steady. "I'm here, baby girl. I'm right here." This wasn't the first episode. Emily had been born with a rare congenital heart condition that required multiple surgeries and careful monitoring. She was strong, so much stronger than any teenager should have to be, but lately, these attacks were coming more often, more severe, and tonight was different. Something in her eyes told me this wasn't just a flare-up. "Max, call 911. Now!" I barked at my 14-year-old son, who stood frozen in the doorway. He nodded, snapping into motion, and ran toward the kitchen. I grabbed Emily's hand, trying to guide her breath. In and out. "Stay with me." Her breathing was shallow, frantic. Her pulse fluttered like a bird caught in a snare beneath my fingers. I pressed my forehead to hers. "Hold on. Help is coming." Max returned, phone still to his ear. "They're 5 minutes away," he shouted. 5 minutes. It felt like an eternity. I stayed by Emily's side, whispering comfort, tried to remain composed while every part of me wanted to scream. Max retrieved her medical folder from the drawer we kept for emergencies and placed her medication on the table for the paramedics. Then relief. The siren, high and clear, slicing through the air like a promise. But then silence. The siren cut out. My heart dropped into my stomach. They hadn't arrived. Not yet. Not our house. "Max," I said, keeping my tone even. "Check what's going on." He took off, bare feet thudding against the floor. A moment later, he returned, breathless, eyes wide. "Dad, someone's blocking the ambulance." "It's Mrs. Winslow. She's standing at the end of the cul-de-sac, yelling at the paramedics." Mrs. Winslow, the self-declared queen of our neighborhood, the HOA president, a woman who cared more about the shade of mailboxes and lawn symmetry than about people. "Stay with your sister," I told Max, already halfway to the door. "Call me if anything changes." I ran, barefoot, across our driveway, sprinting toward the entrance to the cul-de-sac where I could see the flashing lights of the ambulance parked. Motionless, blocked by the unmistakable figure of Gloria Winslow, clad in a floral robe and furiously wagging a finger at young paramedic. "This is a quiet neighborhood," she shrieked. "You're violating the rules." No sirens before 7 a.m. The paramedic, clearly exasperated but still professional, pleaded, "Ma'am, it's a cardiac emergency. Please step aside. I don't care what kind of emergency it is. The HOA guidelines clearly state." "Gloria," I bellowed, my voice booming over the scene. "Move. Now." She turned, startled. "Officer Grant, I know you're upset, but rules are rules. I've already had complaints about the noise. My daughter is dying." I hissed, stepping in close, fists clenched. "If you don't get out of the way right now, I will arrest you for obstruction." Something in my face must have gotten through. She hesitated, then stepped aside with a huff. "We'll be discussing this at the next board meeting." I didn't dignify that with a response. I waved the paramedics through and sprinted back behind them. Emily was slipping fast. They loaded her onto the stretcher, oxygen mask already in place, her skin alarmingly pale. "BP's falling," one medic said. "What's happening?" I asked, voice cracking. "She's going into cardiac arrest," the woman replied. We need to get her out now. I'm coming with you. There's no room, she said firmly. Meet us at County General. We need to work on her during transport. I nodded, barely comprehending. They raced out the door. Max watched from the stairs, tears running down his cheeks. Will she be okay? I pulled him close. The doctors will do everything they can. Call your Aunt Lauren. She'll come stay with you. As I sped behind the ambulance, Gloria Winslow stood in her driveway, arms crossed, watching with disdain. 2 minutes. That's all she delayed them. But in a cardiac emergency, 2 minutes could mean everything. Emily coded in the ambulance. They revived her. Barely. By the time I arrived at the ER, she was in surgery. I sat in the waiting room, hands trembling, phone silent in my lap. I had faced shooters, gang leaders, and murderers. But this helplessness, it gutted me. Hours passed. My sister arrived. Max sat beside me, too quiet, too pale. Then came Dr. Chowdhury, Emily's cardiologist. She's stable, he said, and I collapsed into the chair. But it was close. Too close. She's going to recover. We hope so. We've implanted a temporary regulator. But her brain was without oxygen for over 90 seconds. We won't know if there's lasting damage until she wakes up. The floor beneath me felt like it was made of air. And the delay? I asked. The paramedics mentioned being held up outside your neighborhood. That delay may have been the difference between an episode and full cardiac arrest. I nodded slowly. Gloria Winslow. Later that night, when my partner Trey stopped by with coffee, I told him everything. That's criminal, he said. Reckless endangerment. Interfering with emergency services. I nodded. I want to press charges. You've got backing from the department. I already pulled the GPS data from the ambulance. 2-minute delay at the neighborhood gate. It wasn't just that. Trey had dug deeper. Turns out Gloria's got a pattern, he said. She blocked a fire truck last year. Said it would ruin the pavement. They were responding to a kitchen fire. No charges had been filed then. People were afraid. Not this time. 3 days later, Emily woke up. She was weak but aware. The test came back miraculously, no brain damage. She would need rest, therapy, and monitoring, but she would live. When I finally returned home to check on Max and grab some clean clothes, I found 3 new HOA citations taped to our front door. Unauthorized emergency vehicle entry. Excessive noise before approved hours. Emotional distress caused to neighbors. I crumpled them without a second thought. That evening, Gloria Winslow showed up on my porch in a press suit, face pinched with false concern. I hope your daughter is recovering, she said. No thanks to you, I replied coldly. She ignored it. I came to discuss your citations. Gloria, I cut in. I'm pressing charges. For obstruction. For endangerment. Her eyes widened. You can't be serious. You're no longer HOA president. Your term expired 3 months ago, and the bylaws explicitly allow emergency vehicles. You have no EDO about affidavits from neighbors you've harassed. Financial records that don't match bank statements. A formal investigation is already underway. She paled. You'll be hearing from the DA. And I closed the door in her face. In the weeks that followed, everything changed. Gloria was formally removed. The HOA was audited. Charges were filed. Emily recovered slowly but steadily. Our neighborhood rallied, bringing meals, offering rides, supporting one another. One evening, Emily and I sat on the porch swing. She leaned against me, her head resting on my shoulder. Dad, she whispered, do you think something good came out of this? I do, I said softly. She didn't just mess with a cop's kid, Emily said, a smile playing on her lips. She messed with the entire force. I laughed, holding her close. And as the sun set over our quiet cul-de-sac, a moving truck pulled into Gloria Winslow's old house. A new family waved. I waved back. No threats. No power trips. Just neighbors. Justice finally had come home,